How's it going?
I'm
It's in a nightmare. It's an absolutely weird time for in a nightmare right now too, because we're just doing a Q&A today. There'll be a missing party member, as is currently missing actually, but don't worry, he'll join us here momentarily for a brief period before he runs off again. So we're not progressing any story. We are just going to ask random questions, get to know the characters, the players, and everything in between a little bit, and then it'll be a short night, but hey, let's have fun.
It'll be short but delightful.
Indeed. So, announcements. Let's see, we have the usual programming this week. We have me.
We have feedback is what we have.
We had feedback is what we had.
We had feedback. Yes, we have playing with Mutt tomorrow. Oh, good.
Hey, Skeptic.
Playing with Ooh.
We can engage with chat today. That's the fun bit about today is we can engage with chat.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, also we have Hate, Laugh, Love this week.
Aww.
Anything to go with on that one?
Ethan. Deflection.
Well, yeah. If you know what number of the day Friday is, it's the 19th. Means I'm doing the Dark Tower movie. And to quote Jeff Goldblum's character, Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park, that's one big pile of shit. And yeah, so join us on Friday. It's going to be a fun time.
Good. Mm-hmm. And then we have Nightbane on Saturday. Join us for that.
Oui.
Oh, we're having a lot of fun during that. Cook is heading straight for Maxie's kill list, I guess you could say.
Not intentionally.
Completely on accident.
He's also climbing the ranks, though, faster, so...
Smasher's ready to jump in.
Smasher can jump in whenever. I'm ready.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
We might as well have just done the screen, you know?
Wait for it. Here we go. Y'all ready for this transition? It's gonna be awful.
Any second.
Any second now. Okay. Hey, there we go. Everything's kind of janked up right now because the cam's not on.
There we go. Look at that. Isn't technology wonderful?
Technology.
Terrible.
Oh.
All right. Yeah. Nightbane on Saturday. That was the announcement I was on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then, of course, our usual Tales of Andrea on Sunday. So do join us for that. I'm excited to see how that progresses too. I think that's it for announcements. Do you have anything? No?
Nothing.
All right. Then let's get started with the Q&A.
I hope you guys brought questions.
I'll just wait.
I've got the A's if you've got the Q's.
I hope you have the A's. You better have some. Do we even need to roll the intro today?
Favorite Christmas Carol, go.
Yeah, favorite Christmas Carol. Yeah, there we go. Just first question.
Oh, well, there we go.
Who has a favorite Christmas Carol in general? That's a person that should be thrown into a sanatorium.
I'm pretty sure we're referencing my wife. He
should be dumped into the deepest part of the ocean, so that way they can not be let out.
100% referencing
except for Peter. Peter's the exception. I'm pretty sure of all the people I know who would have a favorite Christmas Carol and would be able to name it right off the bat, it would be Peter.
Yeah, but he's also, Peter.
Is it?
Love you, buddy.
Peter's a wonderful human being.
I think it's a carol. I think it's just a song for me. And it's White Christmas.
Oh. Yes. White Christmas is a wonderful Christmas song.
It's also my favorite Christmas movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That or Gremlins.
Von cannot do Gremlins. That would be a Christmas movie, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Nightmare Before Christmas for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I don't like Christmas.
I'm actually in the same boat in general. I just don't Christmas. So.
Yeah, Christmas is not my holiday, so.
You see,
it ruins everything for me because my birthday's on New Year's Eve, so it's perpetually just the bane of my existence. It's fine. Nothing ever has to be about me. It's okay. I'm not crying. You're crying.
I'm not crying.
In response,
every year reminds you of every childhood birthday that was ruined by Christmas.
Yep, it's not even like I'm born in December and it's ruined mine, and I'm at early December.
Hey,
like
thanks,
first
Hans,
week of
for
December,
the host.
And it just ruined.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that's exactly. That was a perfect pantomime.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Shall we move on from the topic of Christmas carols?
Yes. Actually, I really like Michael Howarth's question. Was the tower in the setting influenced by Ethan's character choice or vice versa? The answer to that question is yes. It was influenced by Ethan's character choice. To be most specific, it was someone's specific choice to implant a wizard that would build towers that resemble Ethan's character's choice's tower. If that's not a confusing
Not close
sentence.
enough.
No, not close enough. There's a missing patch of roses.
And it's technically like not. That's just lore shit. We don't have to. No, let's get on to the questions. I'll talk all day if we get into that shit.
Oh, the fun times.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of. That's actually one of my questions I had was. So Deshane.
Mm-hmm.
How influenced by the gunslinger is he?
Oh, it's an almost 1-for-1, except for like 3 or 4 things.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
It's pretty much just me playing this character I like. That's what this one is. I'm not even trying to hide it. If you've read the books, you know. I'm not even trying to hide it.
One of my roommates was saying the same exact thing. He's like, he's not being discreet, like, at all. There's nothing about what he's doing that's being like, oh no, I'm being like, no, it's like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of reminds me of the scene in Iron Man 2 when Rhodey comes walking in, and it's the new actor. Literally, the first line they say is, "Yeah, it's me. Deal with it."
Yeah.
In reference to the character change or the actor change.
Yep. Yeah. It's just that nobody has, very few people have read those books, so.
Well, and
I can be blamed. It's as if I was playing Gandalf, and like 5 people watching knew what I was doing. You know what I mean? And I literally named my character Gandalf. Like that is how vaguely known this character is.
That would be hilarious. Yeah. That's a question from you. Anyone else have any inserted questions before I ask one of my random ones?
Something his random ones can get scary.
I grew up with that person. Yes. I know.
Don't worry. I start out tame.
Well, then just pop the cork.
Yeah, let's go. Bring it.
How old are your characters?
Oh, crap.
Who wants to go first?
Why don't we start with Mixie? She's first in line and they overlay.
24!
24.
Right? Yeah. I'm not mixing up. Now I have to make sure I'm not mixing up my characters. I actually wrote this one down. No, I lied. 28. I did write it down.
28.
All right, who's next?
Just
Who's
That'd
next in
be
the
you.
overlay?
That would be you.
Oh, that'd be me.
Uh-huh.
Okay, well, my physical body is in his 30s.
That was a good answer.
Do we know? Do we know how old Smasher actually is? I know, like,
Oh.
things. I'm not going to talk about it. Anywho, I know that, like, kind of like he started off very infantile as far as intellect and whatnot, by kind of the nature of what's gone on. But like,
How old is he actually?
right? When was he?
See,
how?
that's a good question. And that's actually, I feel like, a part of his character art is finding out exactly how old he really is. Because in truth, he probably thinks he's only a couple weeks old.
Yeah,
'Cause that's
as far
all
as
you can
memory
remember.
goes. Anything else is cloudy at best before that. So,
Is there a
so
chance of
who-
meatballs?
we do not know. Make your
Is there a
guesses
chance
now
of
in
what?
the comments.
Meatballs.
Meatballs?
Oh, I had meatballs earlier. Actually, I made myself some
Come on.
spaghetti
Oh.
and meat. No, I'm gonna be pulling this bus right off of the road every 5 minutes. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Oh dear.
Next
Skipty already
question.
needs a refill. Look at that.
Oh, I
at
mean,
that.
he's just you give him the cup and just, there it is, all
Gone.
in.
Oh, Skipty. Yeah, Callus, actually, how old are you?
Oh, well, that's a loaded question.
Uh-huh.
It would depend on when you consider the first sentient nation or part of Callus. As far as he
Let's
knows,
go. Yeah, let's go with Callus, like the current rendition.
he is pretty sure he's 8.
Which brings up a point. It is canon that Mixie doesn't actually know her age. She just is going with 28. She's missing the first couple few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Orphans.
Just kind of guessing. It's
Yeah.
a logical guess.
Well, it makes
28.
sense.
And Deshane's being a vague in his 30s.
Yes.
You
Well,
know
you
what's
see,
really...
folks, where I come from,
Oh.
time and space is extraordinarily malleable, and there is no real laws of time. You might see that in the future if I come across a timepiece of some sort. I'm just going to be like, what's the use in that? Like, what? This is nonsense.
Huh. So, Hans just shot a question. Question for Callus. I have 2 friends that named their characters Callus. One was inspired by the other, and I'm not sure how the other came up with the name. How did you come up with Callus? Huh. I was just kind of sitting there thinking of the character and thought to myself, he kind of comes across a bit callous, doesn't he? And then just kind of stuck. Because I had to go look up the definition, make sure I was using it correctly, and we're like, no, yeah, that's correct. I'll call him Callus.
He just decided to spell it Kallis, because that's how it
Yes.
sounds.
Yeah.
And it's probably like just like one of those words that's like callous. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
It's got a
it
strong
sounds
feel to it.
fancy and it's strong.
Well, and I mean,
For some reason.
Callus doesn't even come across Callus at all. He's an adorable little cute thing that turns into horrible monsters that are like nightmare fuel.
He's a werebabe, you know? Like a wee babe.
Oh, a werebabe.
Just a were-
Officially
babe.
adopted, like.
Mhm. Now has a family. Wow.
Yeah, he's got 2 brand new names.
Yeah.
Will Shimmerpop.
Will Shimmerpop. Yep. All right. That was a good question.
Yeah, we can
We
share
love
that
'em.
along. Do you have
I
any
have a
clever
question.
ideas for yours? Like, how
True,
did you come
yeah.
up with Smasher?
Yeah.
Smasher. So I've never built a Warforged before. So when you look through a lot of the Warforged names, they tend to be like fighter or shooter or things like that. So
Shooter
given
McGavin.
that was a barbarian, like I thought it was just as appropriate as appropriate as I could kind of get it. The numeric thing on the end of his name just is something I've used in a lot of my usernames. If you go like to my Twitch channel, all that good stuff, like I use that numerics for myself. So it's just a fun little thing to like drop in there as a numeric designation, a kind of an Easter egg for kind of referencing me directly in his name for the Soldier 393, codename Smasher.
That's a fun tidbit.
Speaking of names, I had a question for you, Mixie, which is, are you going to try to adopt all of us into become Shimmer Pops? That was what I thought you were trying to do. Is by the end even make Deshane come around to take the last name of
that
Shimmer
would
Pops?
Shane Shimmer
getting
Pop.
Deshane to do it would be a dream. Is a dream probably for Mixie?
Maybe a wish spell.
A wish spell. I just act as if that's what it's always been. I'm just like,
What are you
don't
talking about? I've always
understand.
been a Shimmer Pop.
Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah, Mixie's I think the only character I'm currently playing, except for maybe one, that isn't named from a Latin word. I'm really on the nose with my character names. I have a rogue who works as like a mortician named Libitina, which is Coffin, I think it was. Like, I'm on the nose with my names. Mixie Nix, I went online and found a bunch of different gnome name generators and started like picking out words from the name, like not any one name generated, but it was like, I want these two, and it just came out Mixie Nix, and it's my favorite.
Mm-hmm. The long list. Yeah. So explain the long list. Why the long list?
That is Mixie adapting, trying to feel more like a gnome. In the lore, I was looking, like, they pass names on, and the names usually start as something they did. And so, she's a kid getting to name herself Dazzle Whizzle Shimmerpop.
Yep.
A young child with aspirations to dance and do magic, and she kind of got there.
Yeah. Getting closer yet.
Yeah, being raised by the party church.
oh, the drinkies.
All the drinkies.
Yeah.
Yep. Deshane.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
Oh, that's just the last name of Roland Deshane of Elves. Last
nice.
of the Gunslingers. And
You weren't
yeah,
kidding
I was
when you were
being
like,
serious.
"This is that good."
I was not kidding, guys. I'm being very blatant. It's a good series of 9 books. 8 books?
9 books.
9 books.
8 books. Somewhere around there.
Read that shit.
You've shown them to me before.
Mm-hmm.
My parents.
I'm
loved
pretty
them.
sure though, if I remember correctly, Deshane is a French name, and there's a lot of French last names in Maine where Stephen King grew up because there was a lot of French settlers from Canada and stuff moving down. The same group of people pretty much, and that's where he got it from. So it is French.
It's the French name. Yeah.
It is, as you say, French.
Smasher Pop.
Smasher Pop.
Sorry, I couldn't keep it in. It came and it was out.
Smasher Pop.
it's
I would
happening.
I would be
already.
willing to work for this too.
Yep.
Look, if you can engrave it, you can name it. I'm not sure if Smasher cares very much. I think he'd just
Alright.
be happy to
It's
be
gonna
included in something.
It's going to take me about an hour to change my toolkit into, I would imagine jewelry tools would do well for this one, for engravings into metal. We could do it.
It'd be fine. It'd be fine. Just add to the list. Like Mixie has a list, I just have a list. You're just gonna have to find a way to translate it into like that runic shit, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it just like
do
continues
that.
down.
We can do
Somebody's gonna have to decipher that all the way for us.
Nice. I have a feeling everyone's going to be gnomes by the end of this.
that. No.
Well, not gnomes, but part of a gnome family. Is it really a gnome family if there's only one gnome in the family?
Look, gnome is where the heart is.
You make a character called Gnome Chomsky. Oh god, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Alright, there you go. That's your next
That was
one.
good.
Except for you're gonna make him a werebear or something like that, or a bugbear.
Oh,
Still called
no.
Noam Chomsky.
No, make him
Yes.
a raccoon.
No Chomsky. Speaking of, how I sort of alluded to this earlier. What would you say is the main hand of your character? Right or left, or both?
That's why you asked that question earlier.
Yeah, okay. This is making sense now.
Yep.
I imagine Smasher's ambidextrous purely out of like necessity. It doesn't make sense to have a robot have a weaker hand, if that makes sense.
Ambidextrous.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Artificer. It makes sense. I think we're all ambidextrous.
I'm not gonna lie.
Extraordinarily so.
Okay.
We're superheroes, it's fine.
So we,
I thought about it and I was like, I don't see how none of you could not, like how any of you could be anything but ambidextrous.
Ambidextrous.
With
so
the
I guess the
way-
question should be, is it natural or was it nurtured?
Yeah,
Did
there
you
you
develop
go.
ambidextrous or were you born ambidextrous?
I stand by my previous statement.
hmm I believe
Callus
Callus
was
has the
made.
same kind of thing.
Callus
Yeah.
is made ambidextrous.
Yeah.
There's a question for you, Deshane, in chat.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
alright. And I
You
was,
should,
Deshane was born that way.
Yeah.
I was born that way.
Or about Mixinix before you ask the question that's in chat.
I think it was just natural. Like she didn't notice it. Was probably a little bit more like left-handed dominant, but then realized like everything she could do was just you can hold 2 beers. Just saying.
I love that.
Double
the
fisted, yeah.
You
enthusiasm
can
behind
hold
it.
2
Yeah,
beers.
two beers. 2 beers.
Alright, the question for Deshane is I love your gunslinger. I'm a weapons enthusiast myself in real life, and I do recreational firearms as a hobby. Aside from the Dark Tower, was there anything else that inspired you to create the gunslinger? I am an old school fan of westerns, specifically spaghetti westerns, specifically Sergio Leone's films, those great pieces of artwork. Also, the original Django films, before Django Unchained, where that movie got its name. Those are really good. They're a much more campier, almost like fairy tale like version of westerns. I don't know.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what this character is. It's a fairy tale version of a Western gunslinger, you know? The man with no name, as it were.
Man,
But yeah.
no name. That was a good question.
Yes, it was. And I also have the gun that it's a modified version of the Colt Dragoon, which is an extraordinarily large, but this version takes, of course, it doesn't take like a ball for ammunition. You know, that one is old enough that it would have had to been like packed and stuff. This takes a cartridge, an actual more modern bullet. So
Yeah. Also, Hans loves D&D. That is a very, very apt way of putting it. Western style gunslingers really do have a place in fantasy, and not seeing it happen enough sometimes actually gets my blood running, I guess.
Get your
So
hackles up.
gets my hackles up. I just got it. No, anyway. That being said, do expect at some point in time the party to maybe sometime, run into more Western related themes in this campaign, because Shane.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get a Smasher a bandana then if this is going to be more Western themed, just saying.
I think we're going to be fighting dragons with Mixine, western old towns with Deshane, flying to space with Smasher, and back to good old Dagrafim with this guy.
That would be great.
We will go to parallel dimensions.
Right. Do any of you four have any questions for each other or for me or for the audience who's watching currently?
Yeah, Mixie, what's with the pink hair?
That's a big callback, mostly to the fact that my hair's normally bright ass pink.
Oh.
I got a new job, tried to do something a little bit more, like if they didn't allow color to just chop off the ends and be something, and I've absolutely hated this is dark colors are not my thing apparently. I miss my bright pink. So if I ever show up, be prepared. I am planning on going pink again.
That's cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a list, folks.
I do have a list. I am looking at a list. It's right here. I have a whole list. Actually, I do have a question for just in general everyone. Have you ever recycled a character? I know because I thought about this because of Mixie.
Mixie is a recycled character.
Not yet.
I have not. I have a character that recently perished. My first my second character I ever built perished. Unfortunately, not too long ago. But the party retrieved some of his body, so that they're hoping towards the end of the campaign maybe they could resurrect him and I could use him somewhere else. So I hope to rehash him at some point. But we have to kind of go through the proper procedures and actually really save him in order to do that. So I have a new character in that campaign and whatnot. So not yet, but also I'm a very new player. I only played my first game of Dungeons and Dragons November of last year starting, and now I have like 5 campaigns I run. So I have a Saturday Saturday, Sunday. I have another Saturday coming up. I have you guys on Tuesday, and then a West March whenever they do like whenever they have their things. So like yeah, somehow it went from D&D was never part of my life to D&D is pretty much my entire life, and it took less than a year to do. So weird how that happens.
That's
life, right?
Oh yeah. Speaking of how doing stuff, Hans has another great question. This time for Mixie.
Yeah. I do find myself speaking faster, but I don't think it's because that she's a small race. I think it's her personality. Like, Vaughn can attest to this. My other character that I play with him does not talk as fast as her at all. She actually just finally got comfortable with speaking common. I generally do make her voice a little more high-pitched. I haven't really done it for the stream because I haven't been feeling well for a while. It's finally on the up and up, so if I suddenly start having a character voice, that's why. But it's just how I hear her in my head.
And it always takes a while to lock in the voice.
Yep.
Especially through other campaigns.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, you're also most of the time DM. You get to play 1 out of every 10 times you play D&D. So
voices are hard.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know when
voices are tough for the rest of us normies.
before I recycled Mixie, the original campaign she was in, she definitely had a higher voice. So I was a little bummed that I couldn't jump into it right away, like it wasn't a natural slip in, like it was to slip into the character. But again, like I said, I was super sick all of August, September, and I'm still bouncing back. So I'm not surprised that I can't quite get the Mixie voice.
Right.
Well, I agree with
Thank
Hans.
you.
Definitely come off as gnome.
Yeah. Yeah, Mixie Nix is the most obvious gnome I gnome.
Oh my goodness.
I had practice last night being the dad, okay?
I also have to apologize to you, Vaughn, because I realized Mixie Nix shares a name with Nix in the other campaign. I have been horrible to you with just these names, because Muna and Mixie Nix both M names, and Mixie Nix also includes the name of another player. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, don't worry though. I'll get him right eventually. Michael Howarth has a great question too for Mixie.
I literally went to a bunch of different gnome name generators. And just I didn't want to pick any one name because I find a lot of those generated names are kind of off. But I went like, oh, I like Mixie. It was not paired with Nyx. I don't remember. I think if I can find the sketchbook where I have the drawing of her that I did, the page behind it is just covered in like me trying to figure out her name.
Oh yeah, the best way. Oh, there's
names are usually a secondary thing for me. My characters, I'm just like, and that's his name.
Smasher's got a great question now.
So my roleplay with Smasher is kind of
My
interesting.
Threw up in her kennel. 1 second.
Oh, geez.
I guess
you deal with that.
So my roleplay with Smasher is kind of weird because like I'm normally like a lot more like extroverted and I'm much more of a character in general. Anybody who knows me in my personal life, I'm a super huge ham. So like playing something so reserved for me is weird, and I'm not playing him like I think you could play a Warforged. I think you could play a Warforged like any other character, and the only differences would be the different character traits that you could have with any character that has a different race. But in very specific, when I was coming up, I like to play concept characters. Like I don't worry about stats or anything like that. Like I would like their stat to be high enough to have fun, you know, and be effective and help my teammates and not die. But beyond that, like I like the concept of a character and bringing that to light. So the concept with Smasher was a defective Warforged barbarian wild magic user, and it all just felt right together. So when we were kind of going with like where his backstory was, when we were talking like session zeroing and whatnot, it, without saying too much, there is a space specifically for a Warforged in the story Vaughn's trying to tell. And because of that, I was happy to step into a space that left me in kind of a place where I was coming to the table with very little, basically nothing, and having to grow and become a little bit more, which if you watch every episode, like I've worked very hard at slowly, like caring more, being more responsive, having opinions, and kind of learn how to human like everyone else as quickly as possible. So that like whenever it's time for Smasher to meet his story arc or whatever is going to be going on, like hopefully he'll have some stuff that he can have to like go through the trials and be dramatic and, you know, have feelings about stuff and thoughts about stuff and not be so fucking goddamn robotic about shit. which he's slowly. I mean, I feel like really last episode, carrying around the kids. I mean, carrying around Mixie and
The
Callus
baby Bjorn!
with the baby Bjorn, and like there's some like more tender moments, and like all the stuff that's gone on with Callus has been like, so it's really been more of like the way we're playing him towards a very typical like robot learning how to be a real boy,
I'm a real boy.
He's Pinocchioing it.
Uh,
He's subadvertently also teaching people around them.
Mm.
It's a decision's made and a decision's come across. Smasher's computed that. They've got that. So if someone messes up on that, it's, no, excuse me, we agreed not to do this. Or we agreed this was bad.
It's right. It's always. I'm trying to keep his memory very stable and like take things as literally as possible.
Yeah.
And that is a nice balance point for the rest of the group. That is kind of, we have Spider Boy crawling off in one direction, the gnome drunk as shit, and Deshane going, "God damn it, these children!" And it's a nice balance point of being able to be like, well, like being able to still be in the fun, but be like, no, like this is how things went. We had this discussion. Like you said this, you said this, you said this. I know because I was there and you were there, and this one was down there, but he's actually up here now. Like so it kind of provides that nice, the straight man, as it were.
Mixie's only been drunk once. And that was intentional. She's passed every single one of her constitution checks until last game. In which it was story dice. I love it. I love it when the dice agree to tell the story or decide to just tell a story of their own. Where she rolled a 2 on her constitution check, and that was amazing.
Yeah. And it fit perfectly with the situation too, because memories and
you gotta love the nat 20 on the hangover.
I'm good to go again.
No.
It's party time.
What'd I miss?
Well, a nice strong look at the character Smasher. Actually, you're gonna have to go back and watch that on the vid.
Yes, I will. She gets. My girlfriend thinks she got so nervous because she was running herself a bath, right? And my dog hates baths, so she thinks she got so nervous laying in there that she was like,
seen that happen before.
Poor dog.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back now.
Yeah. If you could see this dog, it looks like we beat her to get her into the bath.
Don't.
She's just like,
We love animals. We all love animals.
I've never hit my dog, but she acts like we do in order to get her in the bath. We've always given her treats and peanut butter, and nope.
It's the water. Some dogs just can't stand water.
And yes, there's a sketch or 2 of Mixie in a sketchbook somewhere. If I can find it in a reasonable time, I can probably go grab it.
Yeah. I like this question by Michael Howarth, which I'm actually going to ask out loud. Do you feel like Deshane is Ethan? Do you feel like he is Roland, like you're mostly playing him, or is he an alternate retelling? And this,
it's
I
a
know
reflavoring. Yeah, it's a reflavoring. It is and it isn't. It's it's as close as I'm willing to go without breaking copyright.
Yeah, and see that's one of the things is I'll get a little bit into how I feel as a DM concerning different stories and whatnot, because for me, I love stories. Like, stories are amazing, and when they're told by different people and then they all come together, it's even more fun. So like, if you can bring in something that it's inspired by and then make it part of, and not be like breaking what was already there doing so, because that's really where you don't want to do it, then you could get a lot of really fun like things going with that.
some of the best art to ever be created was partially stolen. Because
Yeah,
that's
it's true.
the nature of art and inspiration is that just
Yeah.
happens. People
Nothing's
take what
100%
they love.
original.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
nothing.
I mean, for instance, this campaign in and of itself, like I literally decided that a character was going to take Ravenloft, a universe created for D&D and whatnot, and make it his own place.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to know what's going to end up showing up?
And we're not all like Murray creating these huge fantastical worlds. Sometimes we just, steal a character from a book series we really like and min-max the shit out of them.
Hey,
No shit.
that's like a character I really liked, and I min-maxed the crap out of him. Made an
No, I
Iron
mean-
Man.
Yeah.
I like this question as well. This one's actually for me.
Oh.
What about the composition of this party? Not so much the race and the classes, more so the personalities, the traits, the chemistry that sets them apart from other parties you've DM'd.
Ooh,
Now,
that's a good
looking
one.
back and thinking about the different parties I've DM'd, not to mention the fact that in my currently other parallel running campaign that's private in this universe, Mixinix's player is actually a player in that one as well.
You probably noticed I mute myself and start screaming at the camera because I have info that I cannot share.
Yeah. She knows a little bit more because they've been going for a little bit longer. That being said, I like the composition of this group simply because a lot of it really is two individuals who don't have too much built up concerning their background, other than, a lot that's back there. But they
Just
themselves
hidden
as
to them.
characters, yeah, they're still developing. That's pretty new. I've never DM'd for characters that are still developing before, and that's actually amazing fun. I'm not gonna lie. The rate at which Callus is going, the rate at which Smasher is going, it's unique and different. I can't say I've particularly DM'd for a character that's directly pulled from a book. But that being said, I gotta admit, I'm quite honored to be DMing for a character that's directly pulled from a book, because, I need to read that book series for one. I haven't yet, and now I need to, and for two, it's pretty awesome. It's just really cool, and I've read what was written of Mixinix's last campaign and everything, and Faye and I have talked about it extensively at times, and I loved Mixinix the moment I learned about the character. So I would have to say, with this group specifically, like, all the characters are just very unique, but at the same time the other group I'm running is also really unique. So it's hard to say. I feel like I'm running with a bunch of professional role players, to be honest. I'm a DM who has a bunch of professional role players. They gave me so much to work with, and I love it. And before these two groups specifically, I didn't really have that kind of an interaction. Not to say I didn't have fun DMing for a lot of groups, but this specifically, like, where almost all my content that I've gathered has been from the backstories of all the players, of all the characters, I mean. Yeah. It's fun.
You're making me super curious to the backstory of Smasher and Mixinix. Just Shane,
Well,
I can look that up.
Well, it's kind of interesting with Mixie because she has already taken a wildly different path than she was in that other campaign. No. No.
Yeah, it's not the same adventure. It's the same universe, but not the same adventure.
No. I have no idea what's actually going on right now in Mixie's world, or in Muna's world, to be honest.
Yeah, it's essentially, the first one has plucked 2 adventuring groups now, and he's playing with them in different ways. So their directions are quite different right now. Nice.
Hey,
Thank you,
hey,
Smokey.
look at that. I think you're smoking that. 393. If y'all
It
can't
was-
tell, Smokey's right there.
It was gonna. I just looked down and my sub was gonna cut tomorrow, so I was like, let's just fix that now before it. Anywho, sorry.
But yeah, good question. Good question. Do you have any? Do you want me to ask one? Because I got a great one for all 4 of you.
No.
Shoot.
I want to know who the 4th one of us is.
1, 2,
What?
3, 4.
Fourth, I can count.
Listen,
4, 5.
I miscounted as
Pick
3.
number
so-
3, my
You said
lord.
4, and I thought 5.
Hey, my lord. I forget.
I told you, I'm gonna be
number
off
3,
today.
my lord.
All the numbers. Yeah. So
What is it?
I asked this of Murray and Ethan before, but well, I asked them if they knew what ethos, logos, and pathos
Oh.
were, but
That.
most specifically, which is your character most persuaded by? Pathos, ethos, or logos? And if you'd like, I can give you a brief description of all 3.
Yes, please.
My brain's smooth, please.
Smooth
Say-
brain. Also,
Ethos is more of an ethical appeal. Like, for instance, outside force gives you reason to be persuaded forward. Like religion would be ethos. Logos is appeal of logic. Like you sit there and you've thought through the process and you're persuaded by the logical choice. Vulcans. And then pathos. Pathos is the emotional appeal. You make that choice. Like, you're persuaded to do the thing because it's the right thing. You feel it is the right thing to do.
So the question is how are our characters driven?
Yeah, how would you say your characters are driven?
I think the easy answer for Smasher would be logic first, but as you know, as he kind of short circuits and whatnot, and as the malfunctions go on, it has become more emotionally driven. He's doing things because he wants to do them, because I don't think it's conscious for him yet, but like patting Callus on the head when he's feeling down, like where would he even learn that, so like I think it's coming to a point where his body's starting to move based on feeling, not just on I need to be here, or I'm here and I need to be there, so this leg needs to move this many centimeters up and then forward. Like, it's slowly becoming I'm going from here to there sort of thing.
Good answer.
Shane is 100% ethos. There is no logic or emotion in any of his decision making. It is all moving like a shark. It has to, to stay alive. Gotta keep moving.
100% ethos. Ka.
Yep.
Every time.
Yuna? Anyway, what about Mixinix? How does Mixinix favor?
I think it's a very obvious pathos for her, but I also think she's taught herself a bit of the logos. Her knee-jerk response is always to be that remote emotional response, but she also knows, because she was a leader of a church, that you kind of have to be a little bit more logical. You can't always just... So she's trying. Doesn't always succeed, but she tries.
Pathos with an attempt towards logos. Callus.
Callus was... Callus was designed to be whichever is needed most at the present moment. For Smasher, it would be Logos. For Mixie-Nix, it would be Pathos. And for Deshane, it would be Ethos. He speaks to them. It's in his vocal patterns, he speaks to them all very differently. And caters his speech patterns to fit what they're going to respond best to.
That's what sociopaths do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is what
sociopath.
sociopaths do.
I feel attacked personally right
So you're saying he basically just caters to what he would believe would give him the best response for what he wants.
Yes.
Convenience, can someone list the characters and the names they go by out of character? So let's just introduce ourselves, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's a
Because
fair
our
thing
names
to
are
do.
not on the.
Our actual names aren't up there, yeah.
Mhm.
That's true.
Well,
Who's
I
going
guess-
first?
DM first.
I guess we'll start with me. I'm Vaughn. I'm the dungeon master. I
That's
play
fine.
all the NPCs. Yeah. I am most actively playing as the first one. So there's that.
Gotta love the first one.
We'll move on down the line to our
Mixie-Nix.
gnome.
Mixie-Nix, Dazzle Shimmer Pop, the first of her name, and Faye. Just people call me Faye. And in the chat, I'm the Technofae.
I'm a snake.
I am a snake
I'm Von
Okay.
Heilig in the chat.
because Slytherin is best house.
Puffle,
It's true.
puff all the way.
Same. Slytherin. Ethan is my name. Yeah, just that.
Plays to shade.
I played Shane, if you should see above.
He's alienated ape in chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is also my Xbox handle. Do not friend me. I will ignore.
I
I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that.
Codename Smasher.
Smasher.
Smasher!
You're muted.
You're
You're
muted
muted.
yourself.
Thank you. Smokey393 in Twitch chat, which also is my Xbox tag. You can add me because I don't give a fuck. I'm not stingy like Deshane. I'll play with you. Just saying. I'm just saying.
And
Oh,
since we're in
drop them.
introductions,
Oh, look.
the secret star of the show, my kitty
Oh.
cat River.
Now that we're all
Aw.
looking at her, she's like, nope, time to go.
We have
Ram
seen
gam.
parts of that cat that we haven't seen of each other.
Oh, the final one on our glorious
He's
list.
talking about feet.
Yeah, feet, clearly. You haven't seen my feet yet.
Because we can't show feet. That's TOA. Except for cats, kitty cats. Oh my god,
Puppies.
cat. The puppies. Hi, hello, what's up? It's me, I'm Murray. The innkeeper. I play Callus, the child. And on Sundays, I play all the other NPCs. And PCs, because when guests go away and leave their boats in possession of the players.
Mm-hmm.
Callus equals Murray. Gypped Raccoon in chat.
Child equals
Smasher
Murray. I like
equals
that
393.
one.
Child
That's okay.
equals
You know what? Yes, you can call me 393. That's fine.
That's perfect.
393.
is just
Skepti,
perfect.
you beautiful human being.
Yeah, you'll catch me calling Vaughn Twinsy and Smasher 393 my spirit animal.
Mm-hmm. Those are other things we go by.
I think I say that semi-frequently on stream. So
Yeah,
Yes.
same here.
to not be confused, I don't think we call each other anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, we always refer to
In
each
the
other as
suite, like,
Twinsy.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's twinsy.
Most people call me Smokey, to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, Ethan and I don't have pet names for each other.
Yet.
I could call you by your God-given name, but I won't do that while we're live.
that. He's a wise man. This
A
Ethan.
wise
He's
man.
a wise man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Skepti. Now you've got me curious.
So I've got another question for you all.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Let's what's this question? Go ahead.
What's your character creation process like? Like, how do you create your
mine, so I'll go
characters?
last.
Yeah, I'll give you whenever you go into D&D Beyond, you know how when you make a character and then they give you that list of do all the first select things, name the character, then choose your race, then choose your class, then go through the class stuff. I skip all the way to the abilities and put in the ability contributes numbers, and then go backwards from there and go to class, figure the class out, and then decide what race is going to fill the gaps.
Yeah, I can tell you for me, it's one of two ways. It depends on what kind of a character I'm making. Am I making a character that I am going to DM, or am I making a character that I am going to play? If I'm making a character I'm going to DM, I add all the class, race, and all of that stuff before I do the abilities. Simply because I cater the abilities to what they are, and I learn what they are as I'm building their class. But when I'm doing it as a player, ability scores come first.
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite. I'm a 100% visual based person. So I get the character in my head, and then I'm like, okay, what would that character be? And then I go, this, and this, and this, and this. It's a little bit different for this character, but when I made Galandriel in Tales of Andrea, that's what I did. I was like, ASMR, cleric, tattoos, moon themed. So that's what I went with. I had the idea of moon. I found the Twilight domain. It falls under the category of worshiping gods of the moon. So I was like, ding, 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 that one.
Boom.
I think along the same lines as Ethan. Like I like creating a concept for a character, and I try to like find their voice. Like I know I have an Aarakocra artificer who's very kind of stuffy and stuck up, and actually, so this is that's not how that goes, because water is actually made up of many hydrogen molecules, like very, very, very stuffy. And I try to see that first, like I feel like if I get the character's voice, I get the character in my head. Like once that voice snaps with me, I get where I kind of start getting where they come from, and then I build whatever from there. Once I have that concept, that's where I start like, okay, well, let's roll dice and see where things land, and how am I going to make my concept for this character come alive through the flavor of class and race and background. And then I like the process, how it really kind of ends up shaping the character along. It's like, okay, well, I didn't think I'd do this with this as a bard, but now that I think about it, it would be great if instead of coming from this background, we came from that background and made him try like on this quest to be immortal. Maybe that's his game, and it kind of finding the character's game through the creation process.
I'm always making characters, or at least coming up with the concepts of them. Like I've already got the character for whatever the next campaign I'm in already made. I just need to roll some dice and see how it develops. So usually when it comes to starting up a new campaign, I usually like if the description of the campaign doesn't trigger its own character immediately, I kind of
This is Peggy. She hates my guts.
Distracted by kitty cat. Like if a character doesn't instantly jump out when the campaign plot or hook line is described to me, I usually already have one to fall back on. But I'm also always I'll be the last person to make a character at a party because I like rounding it off sometimes or not rounding it off at all. But I almost like the reactionary pick of a character class, at least when it comes to parties.
Yeah. That actually rolls into a question I had. I actually just came up with for you guys. Look at my hand because I have it written there. It's not actually written there. But the characters you're playing as in this campaign specifically, what brought you down developing this character? Now, of course, we know for Mixie Nix, you're recycling her essentially, but most specifically for you, what made you decide you wanted to play Mixie Nix for this campaign?
I absolutely loved Mixie. And sadly, the campaign she started in kind of fell apart due to COVID. You can imagine how it can be hard to keep a game going. And so, I felt like her story never got fulfilled. I never got to fully explore her. So, when I realized that the party didn't have a cleric or a healer, I'm like, I'm bringing her back because I'm already part of 3 or 4 campaigns and I can't handle another character that I don't know yet. It was easier to pull up a personality that I've done before and wanted to pursue than try and come up with a completely different character. I'm not ashamed to say that. I have too many characters. Too many games.
So many.
We'll see. How long ago did I start? It was about a year and a half before me and Murray started playing, before I roped him into our old group. So what was that, 2 years ago now? So I've been playing for close to 4 years. I've played a flavor built character, and then another flavor built character, and then I played a min-max character. Murray remembers how that went. And then I played your laundry, which is a flavor build. And then when Vaughn was like, hey, you want to join this, blah, 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 I was like,
yes.
Oh, I'm going to min-max the fuck out of this. So that's what I tried to do. But yeah, that was my decision making. I was like, well, Vaughn's DMing, so a go automatically. I already have an idea for a character, so he remembers this. He remembers I went in because I completely forgot about the gunslinger class in fighter. I completely forgot about it. So I was going a completely different route with this character, where it was this certain type of ranger. Anyway, he was finally like, well, there's the gunslinger class, and I was like, oh yeah. So then I just made that class. You should have seen the other build. The other build I am bringing back though, because
it was pretty good.
Of the magic I could do on top of having guns. I couldn't shoot the same, right? The damage output is not the same, but the versatility of that character was insane. So I will come back. You will see that character be the bane of some future party's existence when Murray brings me on. I need a villain.
I need a villain. Smasher.
So I think I was the last person to be tapped in for this campaign. Everybody had already kind of built characters and whatnot, and I was invited by Faye, because she plays on my Saturday game. My Saturday game started, it was the first D&D game I ever played. It started about a year ago. We finally just got back from another universe this last weekend after being there for months. But it was just kind of, we were sitting down after a session, and she was like, hey, we're doing this thing. I know you're doing like other streaming and whatnot. Do you want to like sit down and try to be a part of it? Like what, you know? And I don't know, like again, you know, went from no D&D to lots of D&D very quick, and I was like, well, more D&D. Oh, I can't turn more D&D down, can you? Like that'd just be rude. So very much was like, okay, sure. And came in and kind of spoke with you guys, and the idea for Smasher was just kind of like, it was somewhat of filling of a gap. I kind of already knew where everybody else was kind of starting to fit in. And the other part of that is I play a very versatile character in my Saturday game that's currently level 7 Bard, level 7 Warlock. So he's super utility, and he's finally getting to a place where he can like kind of punch, but it's a big thinky class. I have to think about what I'm doing three turns down and do this and utilize like how can I do a tricky thing here. And when I was like Smasher, I'm like, okay, I'm going the opposite way, the exact fully opposite. I was already playing a barbarian who's kind of a hippie at the time. I'm like, how do I make this easy on myself to run 3 campaigns at this time? I know, I will do a martial class for 2 of them. So, you know, reckless attack, rinse, repeat. And my original character in the other campaign was going to be a wild magic barbarian, but I decided thematically, because he was a dragonborn, that I wanted to take the path of the beast so that he could be a dragonborn with a tail and have that 10-foot reach as well as that kind of disarming thing, right? So because I kind of scrapped that idea from that campaign and this came up, like, oh, I can smash things again and be weird and janky. And that's kind of where the concept started, and I just kind of fell. I was looking through all the races and kind of fell. I'm like, wait a second, Broken Warforged, Wild Magic Warforged, Broken. This could be fun, and that's kind of where it started, and it's just kind of sprung to life from there. But it was very much like, this would be a fun character that I could sit in, week out, and have tons of fun, like playing through for hours at a time with you guys. Like I might not min-max my stats, but like I'm gonna enjoy most of the game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing, though. I barely even min-max because my rolls were so stupid fucking high for this character. It was insane.
You've been rolling really well.
Really well for
rolling
his character.
really well.
And then I roll really, really dog shit when I need to on Sundays. That seems to be my karmic retribution.
I
Drama's
never
a bitch.
played 3.5, and a lot of people I know have. And if you've played 3.5, you can't help but to think about this as a numbers game. And because I am so new to everything, and you know my little baby D&D brain is coming out into the world, I have the luxury of the ignorance of all of that, where I can just sit and be like, oh hey, I have a character idea, I'm gonna build them the way I want, and then I'm gonna play a game and not have that haunting grinding in the back of my head going, you must find a way to get plus 30 on this roll, find a way to do it, it's fine, circumstance.
That's always going in the back of our heads. It's like,
See, that's not always going. It's not always going.
Always.
I have flavor built before, but when I try and win D&D, I really try and win. Like I just, which is the wrong way to go at D&D, but that is how I do it.
Hey, winning is winning.
I try and win.
Hey, if you're gonna do something, don't half-ass it. That's what I say.
Yeah,
so I'm fucking all for it, man.
Yeah. What about Callus? What was the idea behind Callus?
Something
That you're willing to
unexplained
tell.
needed to be explained, and this was the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. Actually, you know what? That's a good point. We'll leave it at that because I feel like
That
a
is
lot
the
of Callus...
perfect answer without getting into too many details.
Yeah, because a lot of the answer to where Callus and the idea for him comes from is in his backstory, and we gotta.
It's also on
tell that,
Sundays
so-
at 3 every week.
Yeah, every week. Do come by, watch it.
That being said, I have to cut out now.
Mhm.
To keep the framing, would you like me to just mute up and get my camera to blank out?
Uh, yeah, well, actually, if you just give me 1 second here, I can redirect things while you still have time, quickly answer the question. If you yourself, IRL, can materialize and tell your character something, what would it be?
I don't know that I would try to tell Smash or anything. Like, I don't know that he would understand the things that I'd want to say to him to make him into anything else. I'd probably ask him for help with something physical real fast, say thank you, and then be on my fucking way. I'll be perfectly honest. Like, I'm not going to sit there and have an emotional debate with the thing that barely recognizes that, like, you probably shouldn't kill things all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, it wouldn't be deep yet. But if you ask me this again later in season, if you ask me this, like 3-4 months down the road, probably a very different question. 100%. And I do apologize for backing out. My father is coming into town and I have to go pick him up from the airport. I wanted to be here as long as possible.
Have fun. Say hi
Drive
to the
safe.
da.
I love you guys.
Drive
See
safe.
you soon.
We love you. Bye.
Any second.
Soon.
There you go.
There it is.
Perfect.
Got it.
Awesome.
Got
Yeah,
it.
no, that's a great question. What about you? Since we had you go last, Callus. What about you?
Oh.
What would you have for Callus?
Mine's actually incredibly depressing. I would go in, grab him by the shoulders, and say, I am so sorry.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me.
Ethan knows what I do to my characters. I give them really tragic backstories.
Mm-hmm.
Really tragic backstories.
I saw this meme. I'm gonna send it over now. It's this guy scratching this dog's ear, and it's like, "Who's an edgy boy? Yes, you're an edgy boy. Yes, you are." Oh, I'm gonna send that in group in
Oh,
the
please
general
do,
on
yes.
Discord.
Do it on general. Mm-hmm. Yep.
For my character, nothing I could say to my character is going to change his mind because only Callus can. So, Faye.
That's a trick question for me because I've got all this extra knowledge from the other campaign, and like, would I tell her any of that?
Yeah, would you actually? Because I mean, you do. You have that.
Part of me wants to say yes, I would, but at the same time, I think the only thing I really should say to her is to cast that spell on her like she did to Aslan, who was a character in her old campaign. Meeting this character for the first time, this little pixie, I think it was a pixie ranger, was addicted to sugar. To like a bad degree. And the DM ruled that restoration could get rid of addiction is a disease, so lesser restoration. I think that's what Mixie needs to hear. Is do what you would do for others for yourself. And more specifically, cast that damn spell on yourself, goddammit.
Get rid of that addiction. I often feel like if you're in a campaign that's like parallel to another campaign you're in, and you have knowledge, and you were to end up in said universe talking to one of those characters, and the knowledge you had was beneficial to them, I almost feel like you should at least try to convince them of something. At least try to get them some level of information, because sometimes that could be life or death.
I think if it was to be something from the other campaign, it would probably be the definitions for all the runes that Muna's already got.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta give myself props. I haven't looked at those notes or lists since like we've really started playing this campaign because I don't want to solve those mysteries. But I can. Okay, I do want to solve them. I'm trying so hard not to look at those notes.
Yeah. That's true, because you actually have more knowledge concerning some of those runes from this campaign than you do from that campaign.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Lots and lots of notes on runes.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
have another question.
I'm gonna steal it for a second here. Has anyone
it.
ever experienced a TPK?
Good question.
DMing or being part of the party?
I will say this now, and yes, Twinsy, this is a challenge. I have never had a character die.
Hmm.
So,
I
not
can
out of
change that.
like.
Oh,
Yeah, bring it on. Sadly, both the characters in your campaigns right now are very self-sustaining.
Yeah, it's true.
Miona excessively so.
I
it
could,
can be. I just need the right blood.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh my
I-
gosh. Callus with Muna's blood.
I mean, she's humanoid, so he can't turn into her yet.
Yeah.
But yet, being
What do
the
we
key word,
call her in Roll20?
the Eldritch Horror in the making.
Little Eldritch Horror in the making. Eventually, it could happen, and it will be scary.
Eight.
Murray, yeah, I was gonna say, how many times did we have a TPK with Cathris as our DM?
So, at some point, you stop counting.
Yeah, because I know for dead characters, I have a list that goes on to the hundreds at this point because of Cathris.
My very first character lasted 30 minutes. And then got
Yeah, that's
killed
true.
by Psionic Hammer. Because he
That
was level
so
1, had
funny.
9 HP and got hit for 16. And then
That
fell
was so
30
funny.
feet.
It was so funny.
So, yeah.
It's ridiculously hilarious.
With that one, I learned very quickly, if you have a character, you have a backup. And a backup.
Mhm.
And a backup.
And a backup for that backup.
Because with Phil, you could go through all those characters in one session. Mind you, we
Yeah,
went for like 12 hours.
Yeah, we did. We would play for 12 hours straight.
Nerds. Am I right? folks?
Right. Very much so.
I miss the days where I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I miss not
the
having
one
to be adult.
campaign I remember. Yeah, the one campaign I remember though is the campaign of good intentions, because I remember I had a list of characters, and I was like, Phil, I only intend to play one character, and he laughed at me for that. I
Yeah.
went through all of that list in the first week.
It's tragic with Phil. Although the
was
campaign
great.
for good intentions
I loved it.
did come some very beautiful things.
Yeah,
Like I did
it
come
was
up and
great.
make the Huglopid race in that
From
campaign.
that.
From that
Yep.
campaign.
Here's a hot
That
tip.
was-
The first Huglopit to ever meet D&D was overhealed and exploded.
Yep.
Yep.
That was hilarious.
For
That was a good
real.
fight too.
Overhealed.
We did not win.
No.
We lost
were
that
winning.
one. That was a TPK.
We were winning
Yeah. Until you
until
exploded.
we got overhealed. Because I was stopping the thing that was turning our planet into
Wait.
a god.
Wasn't it wasn't it the
Ragnarok?
one who
No.
started the good intentions that
yeah,
overhealed you?
Yeah, he's so 50% of the PC character deaths in that campaign were done by a player,
Mhm.
and it was
One.
always accidental.
Always
You
accidental.
Didn't mean to do it, but it was the byproduct. So it
Of
became
what
known
he
as
did.
the campaign of good intentions.
Yep.
He killed
Yeah,
at least 3 of mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was the sole reason for the death of one of my characters, and decisions he made resulted in the death of almost all the others except for one. The first one, actually, the dwarf. He was killed by our other brother
Oh yeah,
for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
fun.
I give credit to my no character deaths. I've also never had a campaign finish.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's hard.
That's painful.
Like almost all of my campaigns have just kind of suddenly stopped.
Yeah.
So
Well, I can't promise that I won't kill any of your characters.
Bring
I
it.
expect it.
Yeah, because I intend to. Now, whether or not they actually die, that's another thing. I cannot be the one who decides what the dice will decide. I mean, I can. I have the DM, but I won't. However,
The gods
I
will
will
it.
try to kill you. I will try.
May we die
those-
in misery and death.
I think those were the exact words I told you when I was like, hey, I want to try DMing. I want to do this little side one-shot. You get to make a level 10 character because I am going to kill you.
Yeah.
Good
And I
luck.
decided to make a rabbit that runs away.
I actually have a one-shot idea for in the future. I wanna tell people make 5 level 5 characters, give them basic equipment, and then plan on all of them dying in 3 hours. And just literally throw them in a dungeon of endless traps, endless encounters until they all die.
Oh,
What
that'd
if
be
they
great.
don't?
I would be
if-
so impressed. It's a
The
challenge,
last one
Ethan.
makes it through.
It's a challenge.
You mean I
win
get
the
to
gold
win
prize.
D&D?
You would get to win.
You would win D&D. All right, I have a great question. How far is your character willing to go to pursue the greater good? Do they even believe in the greater good?
The greater good.
Thank you.
There's nothing
is-
my character would not do in order to complete his goal. There is nothing he wouldn't do.
And of course, your view of what the greater good is completing your goal.
Exactly. The two are one and the same.
Callus is super selfish. He doesn't care what the greater good's gonna be. He just cares about what he wants.
Mixie already knows how far she would go. She's done it. And now she's trying to reconcile with that. Because it wasn't a thing she thought she could do.
So, this actually kind of brings to a point that I realized about just in general the characters that we've all chosen that we're all playing. And the accidental overlay usage inside this is just, it's there, because you've got Mixie Nix, who is, well, I'm gesturing, here we go. Mixie Nix, who's trying to equate for what has been done. Smasher and Callus, who are trying to equate for what's going on.
The current.
The
present.
the present. Trying to figure that out, that whole situation out. And then Deshane is doing the future. He's working towards something in the future. All
You've got the
presence is of
reconciling
time.
for the... Yeah. Yeah, the reconciling for the past, the reconciling for the present, and the reconciling for the future.
We, the team of deeds,
I'm a Selenier.
the group of deeds. Deeders!
Actually-
We should call our group Deeders.
Nope.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Callus is making
that
a petition.
actually leads to a certain thought process, because I know where Deshane stands on this. Time is linear for Deshane, but there are a couple very powerful entities within Ravenloft that would very heavily disagree with him on that. There are several that would definitely agree with him on it, and there's a few that laugh at the concept of time. What does Callus think of the concept of time, or has he thought of the concept of time?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, the concept of
Very
time,
impressive.
of the rotations of the sun, of the planet around whatever star that it orbits is an educational basis. It's only recently an observed fact. He's only ever been able to read about it. He's never actually been able to see it. It wasn't until he said it in the past, the destruction of the place he was in, that he was able to witness the celestial movements in the sky. So time isn't really a concept. It's something he hears people reference, but it has no importance to him.
He knows when he needs to sleep and when he needs to be awake.
A little freebie on it is what you see Callus as a child is all he's ever known himself to be. All 8 years of his life.
Creepy. What about Mixinix? How does Mixinix view the concept of time?
She is struggling with it and doesn't like it and will continue to drink to ignore it.
Time's a bitch.
Time to hide from it. Wait,
Because
time.
Because time... It's all in the timing. And when the timing goes wrong in really big ways, you kind of lose your faith in time.
Huh. I like that concept. It's good.
Meanwhile, Deshane's like, no, time is linear. It will happen.
No, it is malleable though. It is vaguely linear, but it is extraordinarily malleable.
Malleate this.
While we're talking about time, I just out of curiosity, what are the players' views on time travel? Like, what theory of time travel do you think is...
It has to be cyclical in order for it to work. It has to, and for the way time travel to work, in my opinion, right, is that if you go backwards in time, you were supposed to go backwards in time, so you have no actual effect on
Time machine.
On the. It's a little bit vague. It's a little bit different than that. So you know the grandfather paradox. With this idea of time, that's an impossibility because time itself, space and time, protects itself from such things. So if you went back in time, you were just going to the past where you already were, you know? So there are no real changes because you can't change anything. And what you do change just leads you to going back in time anyway. So it has to be 100% cyclical, and the grandfather paradox has to be negated by the fact that you were there already. So whatever you did didn't affect anything. So that way, when you go back, nothing you do can affect anything.
I like that.
That's the only way for it to work without space and time collapsing in on itself.
This is why you don't go to your home and find yourself and say, hey, and give yourself a high five. That unravels time.
See, that's the question though. Is do you really see it as unraveling time? Because if you go based off of you having to have done that, like if you go back in time and you are destined to have gone back in time because you already went back in time and were in that time, and you found yourself and gave yourself a high five, would that actually unravel time?
See, I think that circumstances would prevent you from high-fiving yourself because you never high-fived yourself before
In the
you went
past.
back in time.
Yeah.
So you would get stuck in traffic, or you would something would happen. Therefore, you never high-fived yourself
Never did
because
the chance.
that is the grandfather paradox.
That would make a great story.
You physically cannot change anything you do if you go back in time because you already come from that future.
Yeah.
I think it's the most cyclical way of looking at time travel.
Yeah, see how I like to see it or like to view it is time travel is a joke. You don't time travel when you time travel. You just go and create a new universe. You shatter it essentially, but not like shatter. Everything's broken. Nothing's gonna happen right anymore. More like you go and there's another branch of reality now. So if you go and find yourself and give yourself a high five, all you're doing is finding another copy of yourself and giving yourself a high five. Woo! Nothing happens.
Have you ever seen Future, man?
No, actually.
It's a series. Very
Before
comical.
before we get talking about shows, we should probably end the episode and then talk about shows off screen.
But I'm just
Because I
saying.
feel like we'll just end up turning this into a hate, laugh, love episode. If we do that.
Just saying though,
I think
it
we're
goes
out of
along with
questions.
your theory.
Yeah, Future Man. I'll have to
Eventually.
watch it.
Eventually.
Yeah,
It's hilarious. Be prepared. It doesn't take itself very seriously.
That's great. I love that.
Seth Rogen
Yeah.
shows up like.
Yeah, that's how
Give a
unserious
cover.
it is. Yeah, no, I definitely like that idea though, playing with time and playing with how
Even
time is
cooler.
perceived and how different players perceive it. That actually plays into the Tales of Andrea a lot, or at least what I previously knew as the Tales of Andrea. I don't know how much has changed since what I knew. Murray. I remember you talked about time travel. S5?
Yes.
2?
I
5.
plead the fifth.
The
You
fifth.
plead the fifth. Yeah.
Well, that was
Yeah, if
backwards
you-
on our
if-
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
If
like,
I don't know why. Sorry.
if Murray were to talk about time travel, we would learn too much about something we should not know. So
Possibly. I mean, there wouldn't have been any reference to it if you hadn't mentioned that. Because there's literally been nothing hinting any of that
No.
at all.
no,
At all.
that's why I'm like
So,
know,
I would
stuff that I
plead-
previously knew.
plead the fifth. Because as yourself and Michael, not Michael Howards, the one inside chat. Hey there, how you doing?
Anubis
Anubisai, not Anubisai anymore. Fine Storm, Michael.
Fine Storm now.
How they, what they said was, because they're the only person who's actually played through the entire campaign, or played through most of it and then had to mix the character because they betrayed everyone. As they said, everything's changed from this point.
Yeah,
It's not the same campaign anymore. I've changed a whole lot of details. But then also Ethan's met a lot of the characters before as well, because he's played another campaign that directly tied into this world. And there's a... Yeah. He probably actually has the most up-to-date information.
Yeah.
And I have the biggest personal vendetta.
Yeah, he does.
The BB.
He does. He's got
Biggest
such a
personal
vendetta.
It's an undying. Draken will take that quite literally to his grave if he has to. Yeah.
It's a delight.
Anyway, guys, any more questions?
I have one final question that I could end it on. Does anyone have any other questions otherwise?
One word, favorite character, favorite class to play.
It's still Paladin. As shitty as spellbooks are, being half martial and half spell based is pretty fucking awesome. You know, because like you can heal people and fuck them up, and I'm just like, jack of all trades, yay!
Smite.
Smite.
I smite thee. Inkfang?
I don't think I have a favorite because I have my most commonly played, which is the rogue.
Ooh.
However, since I'm in so many campaigns, what I've done is played a different class. So I have in a Pathfinder 2 game, an alchemist. I have a druid who just multi-classed into a barbarian. I have a rogue multi-classed into a fighter, and then I have Mixie, and then one undecided. My next character is definitely going to be a barbarian, just because I want to investigate that to its fullest.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't want to say I have a favorite, because I'm exploring all of them still, and
Yeah.
yes, my knee-jerk response is, like, if I had to just drag up a character and be, like, ready to play it, it would be a rogue. But I'm really liking my other characters right now. And just the different type of utility. Because it's my current my highest level character is the rogue fighter. She is incredibly min-maxed. Not completely intentionally, it's just kind of how her character grew, and we kind of had to it's just how she developed. It's ridiculous. At any given time, she's got like plus 23, I want to say, to her stealth, but she can shrink, so she gets an extra 10, so there's that, and she hits a lot in a single round, I think, because I'm playing a homebrewed rogue subclass, she can hit CR 16 creatures and above, and anything that's extended its life with a crit automatically. Like, her hits considered crits for anything CR 16 or above, or things that have extended their life. So she ends up doing a lot of damage.
That's ridiculous.
So
superiority dice, sneak attack, feats you add on top of things. All you need to do is make that. Oh no, combat. Oh
no, she is a monster.
Interesting.
She took the Echo Knight subclass for her fighter, because
Oh,
her problem
very
was
good.
having mobility and like map dominance.
Yeah.
But she is very much that one target. She doesn't do AoE at all. But this DM is very freely giving overpowered magical items. So she has 15-foot reach for 3 rounds per combat with her dagger. She shrinks. She's got tunnel fighter. She's a sentinel. She's got mage slayer. She started off as a character who didn't even know what she was. She woke up in a cemetery and knew nothing. And the DM has decided to play. I was like, have full reign. Like, I don't know what she is. You get full reign with her background. So turns out she's got a kid. She's lived for over 10,000. She's lived since like the dawn of time, essentially, for the human race. During the Great War of like good, evil, chaos, and law. And because her tribe of humans were eliminated, the gods were like, we feel bad, so they all get to reincarnate.
Woo!
Essentially. So she most of us have drawbacks to our reincarnation. She doesn't get to remember. Her son was a child when he was killed, and so he was gifted more with less drawbacks. So like, her whole thing was, for the longest time, she gets told her past lives from her son, who has to go and find her, because they don't always reincarnate in the exact same place they died. But she's always been drawn to the same city, the same town, and she's known as the God Hunter.
The God Hunter. I mean,
each of the 15
CR16
people
and above.
Yeah, essentially every one of the 15 people who got reincarnated this way have like a title. So you've got the Ferryman, you've got the Dream Warrior, we have the Gunslinger, the Knight, and like they're basically the basis is for all of those myths. So like the Dream Warrior, her son, is basically where the myth of Hercules came from.
Nice.
So she started off as being like, my body is, I'm an adult, but it's only 3 years old, to learning about her past, and getting all this information. So she went from what was initially like this, I'm very curious about myself, let's deal with the possible end of the world, to I deal with the end of the world every time I'm alive. And
This
she's
is what I do.
tired. She is tired. She
I
is
just
no
wanna not
nonsense
exist
anymore. Let's
anymore.
just end it. And there's my little side tangent. You get me talking about another character and I can go. I'm sorry.
You're good. That's good.
How you know you love the character.
Oh my
That being
goodness.
said, what was the question again? It was favorite class.
So
What
yeah,
about you?
Yeah, Murray.
Yeah, you, Marie. What do you?
So the real answer is I haven't played all the classes, so I don't know yet. The current answer is Artificer. I love playing Artificers. How do roleplay Steampunk 101? First, choose Artificer.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There you go. That's
done.
why I love it.
Yeah.
I love
I'm not gonna
spell
lie.
things though. I've been starting to dabble a lot more with sorcerer classes, and I really, really want to play a sorcerer class that feels like a rogue.
Yep. Actually, great tangent right into my favorite class. I really like rogue and sorcerer. Those are my two go-tos. And you're like a sorcerer class that plays as a rogue. Yeah, that's something I've done before. I like it.
Arcane Trickster. 3.5 Arcane Trickster.
Yeah, there may be a character like that in Ravenloft right now. You may have seen him a couple times already.
Okay.
That being said,
so
what's your favorite type?
D&D
elf and subrace.
I'll leave mine to last because it's gonna make people sad.
It is. I know it. Ethan, what's your favorite type of D&D elven subrace?
Don't know all of them. Gotta say dark elf. Just goes.
Drow. All the way.
Drow.
Drow's great. What about you, Faye?
I have never played an elf. Give me 2 seconds to look this over.
Okay. I'll tell you mine. I am a huge favorite of Drow. Drow are great. But I'm not gonna lie, Wood Elf is my official favorite elven subrace. I love Wood Elves. And that is why Abra is a Wood Elf race type. He is human in looks, but he is Wood Elf.
Wood Elf themes, for sure.
Yep. I love Wood Elves.
I didn't know this, but apparently Shatterkai is an elf subrace. So there we go. I love me some Shatterkai.
Shatterkai. Yep. I had a feeling that was going to be something you went with. See, I haven't delved too much into the Shatterkai yet. I have a feeling they are going to end up there with Drow and Wood Elf for me, but I think Wood Elf is just going to be my favorite all the time.
Yeah, part of it is like lore from another campaign. Smokey's character over there, his girlfriend is a Shatterkai that we saved/converted to the good side.
That's a lot of words for slavery.
No, we stopped them from ending the world, and Smokey flirted with her, and she was like, "Yeah, you know what? You guys are cool."
Smokey flirted with her and became her boyfriend.
Yeah, he has yet to say that. He has yet to call her in game, in character, his girlfriend. It's the ongoing bit of the campaign right now. However, as I delve into the lore of Muna, I get to learn more about the Shatterkai and like their OG origins of the Shadowfell, and my personal favorite D&D deity, the Raven Queen.
Yep. The Raven Queen. She's amazing.
And no, it's not because of Critical Role, because I haven't gotten to that part yet, so...
Oh, you're going to love it when you do get to that part.
Oh,
that being said, it's your turn to now explain that terrible confession.
I've never played an elf, and I don't intend to. So I've never played an elf, a gnome, a halfling, a dwarf, a tiefling. Any of your core rulebook races, I have never played. Because the first thing I did when I was handed a D&D book was, and here's your races. All right, human. Are there any other races? And then get handed a bunch of other books, and then always paid attention to those books and forgot the player's handbook existed. I've always done that when creating my characters. So, hence in case, Callus, not even a human.
He's not human.
He's
Really
hybrid.
isn't.
But out of the elves, favorite one, I enjoy being high elves. The standard type, because they get to be dickish. Like that offhand diplomat who is very stern and firm with the way and where they stand in. There's quite a few NPCs in the Tales of Andrea that are very much like that. The high elf dickishness. Exactly.
Yeah, high elves.
King Shago may or may not actually have a personality of a high elf. He does.
He's less of
He
a
definitely does.
dickish, though.
To prologue. Prosperous was like
Anyway.
a child.
Yeah. Anyway, the final question of the night before we finish off is a silly question from me. And I need you to answer it from your character's point of views.
Okay.
How much really is a pint of mead?
Not enough.
They come that small?
They come that small.
16 ounces.
16 ounces. All right, we'll end it there for tonight. Yeah. Thanks for the great questions, you guys. Over there in the chat, here as players.
Yes.
This is fun.
Good question.
This was
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
actually
fun.
enjoyed this, yeah.
Mhm.
Really, really did.
Yeah,
That was
I,
kind of fun.
I was thinking we'd just have a quick sit-down powwow kind of thing and then be done. But this was actually really good. I like it. It was great.
Lots of wonderful questions from Michael Howard and Hans Loves
Hans
D&D.
loves D&D.
We love having everyone inside the chat asking questions.
Yeah.
We like answering them too, they're fun.
Yes. But yeah, so we're going to wrap it up here today, guys. We will definitely be back next week for Tales of Andrea. We are moving to a 6:30 time period. Make it a little easier.
Tales of
For
Andrea.
Into the Darkness.
Into the nightmare.
The Nightmare. God damn it.
We're
Wow,
all
did I
part
say
of the
Tales
show.
of Andrea?
You did.
I definitely meant Into the Nightmare. So had my brain thinking of everything going on right now. So yeah, Into the Nightmare, 6:30 MDT PM. Do come back. We love to see you guys, and we are going to continue the story next week. Yeah,
Indubitably.
tomorrow is Playing with Mutts. So
Yep.
Hopefully we see you then.
We don't even know what we're doing tomorrow.
Nope, we're gonna do something.
Bye.
May have closed for now. We hope you met a friend this go around. Tired and blurry you may be. We hope your minds are full from this revelry. Peace follow you out. May you return for more giggles and shouts.